Shri Guru Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki Jai.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sapadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Om Jnana Timarandasya Gnanajana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Supurakam Gurganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwa Guruncha Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Varanam Balarka Chelanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyambudim Sri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Madeka Sharanam Yashishvara Shridharam Vanshakopatarubyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami with translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad. This is the Adi-lila chapter 4, the confidential reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya prasadena tadrupasya vinirnayam balopi kurute shastram drishtva braja vilasinaha. So this is verse number 1 of the chapter. By the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even a foolish child can fully describe the real nature of Lord Krishna, the enjoyer of the pastimes of Raja, according to the vision of the revealed scriptures. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Sri Advaita Charya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Chaturta Shlokarartha Koilab Bibaran Panchama Shlokarartha Shuna Bhaktagan. I have described the meaning of the fourth verse. Now, O devotees, kindly hear the explanation of the fifth verse. So these are referring to the first introductory or Mangala Charan verses of the first chapter of Adi-lila. And he says, I have described the meaning of the fourth verse. So this fourth verse is Anarpita Charim Chirat Karuna Yavatirna Kalo Samarpayitum Unatojwala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Duti Kadamba Sandipita Sada Ridaya Kandare Swuratu Vaya Sachinandanaha. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendentally situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy, to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So that's considered an external reason for the Lord's descent. This doesn't seem so external, but because he's talking about to spread love of Godhead, especially in the sentiment of, in the mood of Madhurya Ras, conjugal love. But that's considered one of the external reasons for the Lord's descent. Now it says, now kindly hear the explanation of the fifth verse. So that was the fourth verse, and the fifth verse is Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladinir Shaktir Asmat Ekat Mana Vapi Bhuvi Pura Dehabidam Gatoto Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Adhuna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Svarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one, in their identity they separated themselves eternally. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I bow down to him, who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. So that, along with the following verse, which we'll get to, is describing the internal reasons or the confidential reasons for the Lord's appearance. So I have described the meaning of the fourth verse. Now, O devotees, kindly hear the explanation of the fifth verse. Mula shlokar arta korite prakash, arta lagaite age kahiye abas. Just to explain the original verse, I shall first suggest its meaning. Chaturta shlokar arta ekoila sar, premanama pracharite e avatar. I have given the essential meaning of the fourth verse. This incarnation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descends to propagate the chanting of the holy name and spread love of God. Satya e hetu kintu eho bahiranga ara eg hetu shuna ache antaranga. Although this is true, this is but the external reason for the Lord's incarnation. Please hear one other reason, the confidential reason for the Lord's appearance. Purve jena prativir maraharibare Krishnavatirna hoila shastrete prachare. The scriptures proclaim that Lord Krishna previously descended to take away the burden of the earth. Swayam Bhagavaner karma nahi barharan stiti karta Vishnu koran jagat palan. To take away this burden, however, is not the work of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, to take away the burden of the earth, that's not the principal duty of Krishna. Krishna comes for other reasons. The maintainer, Lord Vishnu, is the one who protects the universe. Kintu Krishna jay hoy avatarakal baraharanakala tate hoila mishal. But the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time for Lord Krishna's incarnation. Purna Bhagavan avatare jekale arasab avatara tahate asimile. When the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, all other incarnations of the Lord meet together within him. So that's very easy to understand. When Krishna is the original Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is, as it's stated by Prabhupada, and when he descends, everyone else, all other incarnations, all other avatars are already included with him. And that's easy to understand, that if you have $1 million, you also have $100,000 or $1,000 or $100. You have everything. So everything's included, all lower denominations, etc. Narayana Chaturvyuha Matsyadi Avatar Juga Manvantara Avatara Jata Achyar Sabhyashe Krishna Ange Hoy Avatirna Aiche Avatare Krishna Bhagavan Purna. Lord Narayan, the four primary expansions, Vasudeva, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, Matsya, and the other Lila incarnations, the Yuga avatars, the Manvantara incarnations, and as many other incarnations as there are, all descend in the body of Lord Krishna. In this way, the complete Supreme Godhead, Lord Krishna himself, appears. And Vishnu and everyone else is already included, because you could say he's the fountainhead, the source of everything. So then all the other incarnations are already there when he descends. Ateva Vishnu Takak, Ateva Vishnu Takan Krishnara Sharire Vishnu Dwarikore Krishna Asura Samhare. At that time, therefore, Lord Vishnu is present in the body of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna kills the demons through him. So it's not the work of killing demons. That's not Krishna's job. He doesn't do that. One person seeing many different pictures of Krishna and Vishnu and Kali and all these other appearances of divinity chose a picture of Krishna and said, he is the supreme. And then someone asked, how do you know that? And he says, because everyone else has some job to do. But he's not shown doing any job. He's just playing his flute. So he must be God because everybody else is working hard. But he's just enjoying his pastimes, playing his flute. So that's perceptible. It's perceptible to be able to see like that. At that time, therefore, Lord Vishnu is present in the body of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna kills the demons through him. Anusanga karma e asura maran, jelage avatara, kohe se mulakaran. Thus the killing of the demons is but secondary work. I shall now speak of the main reason for the Lord's incarnation. Prema rasa nirjasa korite ashwadan Ragamarg Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan Rasika Shekara Krishna Parama Karuna Edui Hetu Hoite Ichara Udgama. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Not just rules and regulations, but Krishna wants to spread ragmarg, some natural flowing of the heart towards the Lord, not out of a sense of duty, but out of a sense of love. Thus he is known as supremely jubilant and is the most merciful of all. Aishvarya Gana Tesab Jagat Mishrita Aishvarya Sitila Preme Nahi Mora Prita. Lord Krishna thought, all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. So this mentions Aishvarya Gyan. Aishvarya Gyan is awe, reverence, majesty. These are conceptions which people have, but that's more Vaikuntha worship. That's not the worship of Krishna. That's more the worship of Vishnu, a sense of majesty, of awe and reverence. And Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he wrote that fear of God is the religion of the masses, but love of God is the religion of the saints. So Krishna says, all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, or of worship of God according to formality. But love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. Amare Ishwaramane apanake hin tara preme basha ame na hoy adin. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. Amake taye ye Amake taye ye bhakta bhaji je bhave tare se bhave bhaji emora swabhave. In whatever transcendental mellow, in whatever relationship my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. Ye yata mam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manusha Partha Sarvashaha. In whatever way my devotees My devotees surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Prita. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna affirms that formerly, some 120 million years before the battle of Kurukshetra, he explained the mystic philosophy of the Gita to the sun god. The message was received through the chain of disciplic succession. But in course of time, the chain being broken somehow or other, Lord Sri Krishna appeared again and taught Arjuna the truths of the Bhagavad Gita. At that time, the Lord spoke this verse to his friend Arjuna. In whatever way my devotee surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Prita. In other words, in the way that you relate with Krishna, whether it's formally or intimately, he will respond with you in that way. Of course, this is not some artificial, sentimental way that someone imagines that they have an intimate relationship with Krishna, but they don't know what it means to actually have devotion for the Lord. This is referring to the way in which one is approaching the Lord, whether it's through Aishwarya Gam with a sense of awe and reverence and majesty, like in Vaikuntha worship, or whether it's done with a feeling of ragmarg, of spontaneity from within the heart, which would be under the direction, of course, of the spiritual master also. Mora putra mora saka, mora pranapati, ebhavi je more kore shuddha bhakti, apanake boramane amare samahin, sebhave hoy ami tahara adin. But if somebody says, well, how can it be under the direction of the spiritual master? Because that implies that one is being taught something, and what they're being taught may be not accessible to them because they may not be so advanced, etc. But no, what we're saying is talking about whoever it is, whether it's the most beginning devotee or the most advanced devotee, everyone is being engaged by the superior Vaishnava, by the experienced Vaishnava. So Mora putra mora saka mora pranapati ebhave je more kore shuddha bhakti apanake boramane amare samahin ebhave hoy ami tahara adin. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, or her beloved, regarding himself or herself as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. So I'm going to see how I can change that. So because we normally will think of Krishna's lovers as the gopis or etc. So if one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as one's son, one's friend, or one's beloved, regarding oneself as great and considering me unequal or inferior, I become subordinate to that devotee. All right, so as close as I can get it. Mai bhakti ribhutanam amritatvaya kalpate disyayad asin matsneho bhavatinam mad apanaha. Devotional service rendered to me by the living beings revives their eternal life. O my dear damsels of Braja, your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you may obtain my favor. Mata more putra bhave korana bandhana atihina jnane kore lalana palana. Mother sometimes binds me as her son, or ties me to a mortar and pestle, as it happened in the pastime with the twin Arjuna trees, where Krishna was a baby, he was misbehaving, getting into trouble with Mother Yashoda, so she bound him and tied him to the family mortar, maybe a big mortar, but Krishna dragged that mortar between two trees and pulled the trees down, and from those trees came some two imprisoned demigods who had been cursed there to be Arjuna trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj because previously some behavior of theirs where they were enjoying, and I believe they didn't properly clothe themselves when they were with some women, and Narad Muni passed near there. So he said, "You're very shameless, so you better take birth as Arjuna trees," and he cursed them to become Arjuna trees. But later they were liberated by that child Krishna when he pulled the mortar which Mother Yashoda had tied him to. He pulled it between those trees and pulled the trees down, and then the demigods came out from those trees, and then the people in Vrindavan, they heard the crashing of the trees, and they came there, and they said, "What happened?" And the other children who saw that said, "Oh, Krishna pulled the mortar there, and he knocked down the trees, and two great effulgent personalities came out, and they offered prayers to Krishna." And the adults in Vrindavan, they thought, well, we don't know whether we can really confide in the prattle of these children. They're describing something that seems incredible, but they more or less believed it. But they thought, what is the actual essence here? What's going on? So Mother sometimes binds me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. Okay. Sakashuddha Satke Kore Skande Arohan Tumi Kon Bora Lok Tumi Amisam. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal." So it's showing they're not thinking of Krishna with awe and reverence. They're thinking of Krishna as their friends, like Sudama, no, not Sudama, more Krishna's cowherd boyfriends. They're thinking, they sometimes wrestle with him, they climb on his shoulders, they say, "My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, 'What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal.' Priya Jari Manakori Koraye Barsan Beda Stuti Hoite Ares Se Moraman." If my beloved consort reproaches me in a sulky mood, that stills my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. So somebody may be offering prayers from the Vedas, but if one of the gopis is reproaching Krishna in a sulky mood, and that captures his attention much more than the Vedic hymns. So, Eshuddha Bhakta Loya Korimu Avatar Koriba Vivida Vida Adbhuta Vihar Vaikunta Adhyena Hije Jay Lila Raprajar Se Lila Koriba Jate Mura Chamatkar. Taking his pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikunta. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. So, Vaikunta worship is formal, on reverence. But here Krishna is saying, I will descend to the world with my intimate devotees, and we will have pastimes which are even unimaginable in Vaikunta. Mo Vichaye Gopiganer Upapati Bhave Jogamaya Koribeka Apana Prabhave. The influence of Yogamaya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour. So Yogamaya will inspire the gopis to think of Krishna as their paramour, as their lover, not as their husband, not with the formality of being of him being their husband, but him being their paramour, of him being their lover. Amiya na jani taha na jani gopigan, duhara rupa gune duhar nitya hariman. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. So if you these things may be heard and considered, but you have to see that what's being described here is unimaginable for normal religionists and people from other cultures and other religions. They'll think to be a lover of God, people don't imagine that. They're thinking of God with awe and reverence. And I remember when I was in school, there was some writer that read poems of who wrote of God as like in a more intimate relationship, as a Morris relationship. I think that was poems of John Donne or something like that. But that kind of sentiment is not very complete. Wasn't very complete because it's unimaginable even to such a writer. But it's very much out of the ordinary. People are not thinking of the relationship with God as a sense of lovers between, with an amorous relationship. They're thinking of God as the worship, as, how do you have that kind of relationship with God as a burning bush? How are you going to think of God as a burning bush and have an amorous, loving relationship, reciprocal relationship with a burning bush? Not going to happen. But that's maybe a biblical reference. And in other religions, they'll think of God as all powerful or as all reverential, but not as Guru Maharaj would say, we're considering the Lord in a different way. We think of Krishna as the most beautiful, the most attractive, the most, all these qualities of intimacy between the Lord and his devotee. That's not known in other conceptions. Dharma chadi rage duhe koraye milan kabu mile kabu na mile daivera gatan. Pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties, dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what is it? Sarva dharmam parityajam mamekam sharanam vraja ham tuam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma shucha. You can abandon or give up all other so-called conceptions of dharma or religion and just surrender to me. So pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties, dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. Esab rasa nirjasha koriba aswada edware koriba sab bhaktere prasada. I shall taste the essence of all these rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. Brajena nirmala raga shuni bhaktagan raga marge bhaje jena chadi dharma karma. Then, by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Braja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. So really what we're hearing is a discussion of raga marg, of spontaneous attraction in devotion for the Lord, not out of a sense of duty, but out of a sense of the natural flow of love from the heart. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham ashrita bhajate tadrishi krida yashutva tad parobhavet. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes one should engage in service to him. So that's really what we're talking about, devotional service, but not devotional service out of formality, but devotional service with love, really love and devotion. Bhavet kriya vidhi lin se iha koi kartavya avashya e anyata pratya vai. Bhavet kriya vidhi lin se iha koi kartavya avashya e anjata pratyavai. Here the use of the word bhavet, which is in the imperative mood, tells that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. So bhavet means imperative. It means it's not something that's debatable. Bhavet means this should be done. Bhavet. So let's see where we're having a reference to that word bhavet. Okay, it's from this verse that we heard. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham ashrita bhajate tadrishi krida tad yashrutva tad paro bhavet. There's the word bhavet. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. So there, and why there's that sense of imperativeness, not to communicate duty, but to indicate necessity. You know, bhavet. This you have to understand imperative, not in the sense that you're being ordered, but it's of your. Here the use of the word bhavet, of the verb bhavet, which is in the imperative mood, tells us this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. But okay, we're not really talking completely of duty. We're talking about also of necessity, which is your intrinsic nature. Evancha jaiche Krishna prakatya karan asura samhara anusanga prayojan emata Chaitanya Krishna purna bhagavan jugadharma pravartana nahitarakam. Just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity, so for Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the Dharma of the age is incidental. So what is promulgating the Dharma of the age? To spread the Sankirtan movement. Now, that is one of the reasons for the Lord's descent. He descends to spread the Sankirtan movement. But that, just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, a natural reciprocation of love with his devotees, just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity, so for Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the Dharma of the age is incidental. So we're not equating the Dharma of the age to spread Sankirtan with killing demons, but it's saying this is the Yuga Dharma. The Yuga Dharma is spreading the Sankirtan mission, spreading chanting of the holy name. It's not the same as killing demons, but it is incidental. It's not the principal reason for the Lord's descent. He'll accomplish that when he descends, but he has his internal reasons why he personally wants to descend. And we heard that. It's all these other things could be done by Vishnu, but Krishna has his own reasons why he wants to come. Kon karane jabe hoila avatare man jugadharma kala hoila se kale milan. When the Lord desired to appear When the Lord desired to appear for another reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arose. The religion of the age is to spread the Sankirtan movement. So when the Lord desired to appear for another reason, for his own reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arose. So it was time for that. So, okay, I'll do that at the same time. But I have my other reasons. Dui hetu avatari loya bhaktagan apaneya shware prema nama sankirtan. Thus, with two intentions, the Lord appeared with his devotees and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. Se dware achandale kirtana sanchare nama prema mala ganti paraila samsare. Thus he spread kirtan even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and prema with which he garlanded the entire material world. So this was for everyone. This is not just for Brahmins, etc. This is for all kinds of persons. Hindus, non-Hindus, whatever it may be. So he spread prema, not just kirtan or not just sankirtan, but prema kirtan, chanting with love of Godhead. Imata bhakta bhava koreyangikar apaniya chare bhakti korila prachar. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. So, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita he says, how's it begin? Yuga idharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyatanam dharmasya tadatmanam shijamyaham paritranaya sadunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever there's a decline in religious principles and a rise in irreligion, I myself descend to correct that situation. Paritranaya sadhunam, to satisfy the devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya chaduskritam, and to destroy the miscreants or the demons. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So in this way the Lord descends, but in the age of Kali, when Mahaprabhu comes, he's not coming to destroy demons. Then how does he do that? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. He by spreading Sankirtan and love of Godhead, he's destroying irreligious tendencies or qualities within the heart of everyone. Because in the age of Kali, it's not a question of somebody's just a pure, long-fanged demon who's going to be killed by the Lord. In the age of Kali, everybody has a certain amount of irreligion and non-devotion and even demoniac tendencies within one's heart. So the Lord destroys those demoniac qualities which are within our heart. But he does so, and how he's doing this, he's not doing this with chakra and mace. He's not doing this with his disc weapon or his club, which we see sometimes in the Battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna showing those. No, his weapons are his devotees and his mood. He's coming as a devotee, not as a king or a prince or a warrior, but he's coming as a devotee to spread this love by showing the practice of it himself. He's showing by his own devotion what it means and how he's doing that. How will Krishna show love for himself? How is somebody teaching love for themselves? That's not on the agenda. I'm not teaching love for myself by showing how much I love myself. No, Krishna adopts a mood and the beauty of Srimati Radharani and shows her mood of devotion, and that will become very attractive to everyone. Dasya Sakya Vatsoya Ara Jay Shringar Chari Prema Chaturveda Bhakti E Adar. 4 kinds of devotees are the receptacle. 4 kinds of devotees are the receptacles of the 4 kinds of mellows in love of God, and namely servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. Nija Nija Baba Sabe Shrishta Kore Mane Nija Babe Kore Krishna Sukha Ashwarane. So those 4 kinds of devotees are servants, friends, parents, and lovers. 4 kinds of devotees are the receptacles of the 4 kinds of mellows in love of God, namely servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. Nija Nija Baba Sabe Shrishta Kore Mane Nija Bhave Kore Krishna Sukha Shwarane. Each kind of devotee feels that his sentiment or her sentiment is the most excellent, and thus in that mood one tastes great happiness with Lord Krishna. Tatasta hoya mane vichar jari kori sabrasa hoite shringara adika madhuri. But if we compare the sentiments in an impartial mood, we find that the conjugal sentiment is superior to all the others in sweetness. Yeah. Because what is really capturing people, what makes people feel happiness in the world? Well, you could argue, oh, in this material world there is no real love. Sometimes devotees argue in that way, but I'm not buying that completely, because when we see that there are sentiments, perhaps they're misdirected, but people have sentiments of love towards their lover, towards their wife, towards their children, towards their parents, towards their friends, towards their pets, their dogs and cats. There's a sense of some sense of happiness they get, at least a mistaken idea of love, if you want to call it mistaken. But I'll say that, all right, it's not the pure love that is seen between Krishna and his devotees, but in particular, Krishna and his devotees, the highest sense will be seen between Krishna and his lovers. So that's what this verse is saying. But if we compare the sentiments in an impartial mood of all the relations with Krishna, we find that the conjugal sentiment, or the sentiment between Krishna and his lovers, is superior to all others in sweetness. Now, somebody could say, no, I have a relationship with Krishna as a friend, and to me that's the supreme relationship. Yes, that's true. But it says, if we compare the sentiments in an impartial mood, in other words, as an observer, we'll say that the relationship between lovers is the most intimate of all. Yato taram aso swadha vishesho lasamayapi ratir vasanaya swadvi basate kapi kashyachit. Increasing love is experienced in various tastes, one above another. But that love which has the highest taste is in the gradual succession of desire, manifests itself in the form of conjugal love. This is a verse from Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Ateva madura ras kohi taranam svakiya parakiya bhave se bida samstan. Therefore I call it Madhura Ras. It has 2 further divisions, namely wedded and unwedded love. So what's going to be shown here is the relationship between Krishna and the gopis is more intimate and more intense than the relationship between Krishna and his wives in Dwarka. The sense of here. Therefore I call it Madhura Ras. Madhura Ras. It has 2 further divisions, namely wedded and unwedded love. Parakiya Bhabe E Raser Ulas Brajavina Ihar Anyatra Nahibas. There is a great increase of mellow in the unwedded conjugal love. Such love is found nowhere but in Braja, in Vrindavan. So Parakiya, there's Swakiya and Parakiya. Parakiya is the love in Vrindavan, and Swakiya is the love between Krishna and his wives. And what's said here is, in Dwarka, that is a less intimate love than what we see of the love in Vrindavan. And you could say, well, are the gopis married to Krishna? No, definitely not. They are not married to Krishna. In many cases, they're married to somebody else. But there is a great increase of mellow and unwedded conjugal mood. Such love is found nowhere but in Braja. Well, you could say, well, why would precedence be given to unwedded love? Well, there's a sense of crossing even moral boundaries to go to search for Krishna. Braja Vadu Ganer E Baba Niravadi Taramadye Sri Radhaya Babera Avadi. We don't talk about these, and if I'm giving a general lecture, I'm not going to talk about all these things, but it's here in the beginning of it's here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I gave an example one time in India. Some persons, actually they were, the instance was one Catholic nun. She was arguing that the love that Krishna shows is an immoral love, that he's showing a relationship with other people's wives. That's immoral. And then, and then somebody asked her, one person who was dealing with that said, "Oh, sister, can you tell us, what is that ring on your finger?" And she said, she didn't want to answer. And then they said to her, answer the question. She said, "It means that we're all married to Christ." And they said, are all nuns, they all have that ring? They are all married to Christ? And she said, yes. And they said, well, then Christ must be married to many different women, have many different lovers. Then why are you criticizing Krishna for having many different lovers? And he said, actually, we're all spirit souls, and all souls have a loving relationship with the Lord. So why is there something wrong with that? That's what's being shown. Brajabadu Ganer E Baba Niravadi Taramadye Sri Radhaya Bhavera Avadi. There is such a great increase of mellow and unwedded conjugal mood. Such love is found nowhere but in Braja, in Vrindavan. This mood is unbounded in the damsels of Braja, but among them it finds its perfection in Sri Radha. And Radha, well, just go on here. Proda Nirmala Bhava Prema Sarvotam Krishnara Madhurya Rasa Asvara Karan. Her pure, mature love surpasses that of all others. Her love is the cause of Lord Krishna's tasting the sweetness of the conjugal relationship. Ateva Se Bhava Angiko Karakori Sadilena Nijabansha Goranga Sri Hari. Therefore, Lord Goranga, or Lord Chaitanya, therefore Lord Goranga, who is Sri Hari himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. Sureshanam Durgam Gatir Ati Shayeno Panishadam Muninam Sarvaswam Pranata Patalinam Madhurima Vinir Yasha Premno Nikila Pashu Palambuja drisham sa chaitanya kim me punar api drishor yashyati param. Lord Chaitanya is the shelter of the demigods, the goal of the Upanishads, the be-all and end-all of the great sages, the beautiful shelter of the devotees, and the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. Will he again be the object of my vision? So Lord Chaitanya, who shows, he comes and he shows, he's Krishna, but he's covered with the mood and the beauty, golden color beauty of Srimati Radharani. It says Lord Chaitanya is the shelter of the demigods, the goal of the Upanishads, the be-all and end-all of the great sages. They're not, those persons are not thinking, worshiping someone who is not moral. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing all devotion and all moralities, worshipped by sages and demigods and the Vedas, etc. The beautiful shelter of his devotees and the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. Will he again be the object of my vision? Aparam kasyapi pranaye jana vrindasya kutuki rasastomam ridvam madhuram upabhoktum kam apiyaha rucham swam avavri jutim iha tariyam prakatayan sadevas chaitanyakritir atitaram na kripayatu. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha, and so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with her effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. So these two texts that we just read, that Lord Chaitanya is the shelter of the demigods, the goal of the Upanishads, the be-all and end-all of the great sages, the beautiful shelter of his devotees, and the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. Will he again be the object of my vision? And Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha, and so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with her effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. So these verses, respectively, Pratama Sri Chaitanyastaka 2 and Dvitiya. Pratama means the first verse, and Dvitiya means the second verse of Sri Chaitanyastaka 3. From the Shrud Stava Mala of Srila Rupa Goswami. So there, from those chapters, Pratama Sri Chaitanyastaka of Rupa Goswami. Babe Grahaner Hetu Koila Dharma Stapan Taramukya Hetu Kohe Shuna Sarvajan. To accept ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared and reestablished the religious system for this age. I shall now explain that reason. Everyone please listen. Mula hetu age shloker koila abash ebe kohe se shlokera arta prakash. Having first given hints about the verse describing the principal reason why the Lord appeared, now I shall manifest its full meaning. So to Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shaktirasmad Ekatmana Vapi Bhuvi Puradeha Bedam Gatoto Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Adhuna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radhabhava Jyoti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. And this is the confidential reasons for Mahaprabhu's descent. And it's the 5th verse, but everything we heard up till now was like introductory. It says, having first given hints about the verse describing the principal reason why the Lord appeared, now I shall manifest its full meaning. And the loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, they separated themselves eternally. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. This text is from the diary of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. It appears as the fifth of the first 14 verses of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Those 14 verses are called the Mangala Charan. So tomorrow we'll continue and we'll be dealing with this fifth verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita Mangala Charan. Why? The confidential reasons for Lord Chaitanya's descent. So, I mean, it's obviously to digest all this is not possible at one sitting. You have to, it's very deep. Everything is very deep reasons. Okay, so now we'll sing Hari Harai. He's good. Maharaj will play the mridanga. Page 60, I think. 60. All right. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopa Govinda Ram Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chanda Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chanda Saradara Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Sarupa Sanatam Bhakta Raguna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raguna Echai Gosai Gori Charana Bandhan Echai Gosai Gori Charana Jaite Vignana Shavista Puran Echai Gosai Jar Muitanada Dasavar Pada Renu Mora Panchagas Charir Chanana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas Janame Chaname More Ambilas Echai Gosai Jabe Banje Koilama Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Tilak Nehru Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Chari Ashtatara Sadashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Chari Ashtatara Sadashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Prem Se Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladvip Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan Sham Guna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Sri Govinda Mela Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Pavan Maharaj Ki